Welcome to Sometimes There's Side Eye, a podcast about two friends having real and unfiltered conversations about dogs and people. Listen as we talk about our lives with dogs, training, behavior, share some laughs, and a whole lot of banter. I'm Heather.
And I'm Christy. What are we talking about this week, Heather?
This week we have a repeat guest, and I'm, as usual, so excited about it.
So excited.
I know, we have Kate back from Paws and Breathe, and we are so happy to have her here. Welcome back, Kate.
Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me, you guys.
If you guys are not already following Kate, you should be. And of course, as usual, we will link her up in the show notes or the show description so that you can follow her on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the two, right?
Yeah.
Instagram mostly.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
don't
like.
use Facebook a ton, but it's there.
Yeah.
It is there for sure.
Yep.
It is there. It's
And
existing.
then your website as well. Kate, can you give us just a little reminder to our listeners who you are, what you do, and maybe what pets you're living with right now?
Yes. My name's Kate. I'm the founder of Paws and Breathe. Kate or Katie. I get called different things by different people that know me. And Paws and Breathe basically exists as an ode to my soul dog Champ, who passed away in November of 2023. We do a few different things. We started out simply just partnering with local rescues to do yoga fundraisers to raise money for dogs in need. It then evolved into also offering grief support, which is what the previous podcast that we did together was all about. So I offer monthly grief circles for pet loss because when I lost Champ, I didn't really have a resource for that. So I felt like it was something I wanted to create for the community. So yeah, those are like the two big things that we do at Pause and Breathe. It's really all about healing and wellness and just community for both people and animals.
I
I
love
love
it.
that.
And if you would like to go back to listen to Kate's first episode with us, we highly recommend it. And that is episode 65. And I would just say if you don't need it now or you don't think you need it, you might need it in the future. So just maybe take note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or you might have a friend who needs it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
We're
for
all
sure.
about share the support, share the love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what dogs are you currently living with? Tell
Or
us.
pet.
Or pets,
Yeah.
correct. I
Yeah.
must remember to say pets.
Yes, I've had to shift like my whole model because I do stuff with cats now too. So Champ obviously is no longer in his earthly body. My girl is Lily. So she's my home girl. She's here all the time, and then I kind of have a rotating door of fosters, both dogs and cats. And right now I have Midge, who is being fostered through Arizona Chihuahua Rescue. And then I also have Artie, who is a kitty who I actually think I had
Oh, you
on the
did.
last podcast. I've had her through AZK9 and I haven't quite made the decision yet, but she might just be staying with us. So we'll see.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's
I
been a
love
while.
that. I know it has been a little while, so it's
Yeah.
Hard not to
perfect.
get attached to those long-term fosters.
Yeah.
you know?
And she's just really great. She's great with people
Mhm.
that come over. She's great with the dogs. You know, she is particular in some ways, but we really love her. Yeah.
Gosh,
That's
there's so
awesome.
much value too in a dog savvy cat. I mean, I just
Yes.
love
Mhm.
that. It's so amazing. And it's
Yeah.
awesome for your fosters too. If
Mhm.
you know, have future fosters that get to learn from a cat who
Yeah.
is savvy with dogs. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. When Midge came, you know, it took her a week to learn to not chase Artie,
Hmm.
but now I can very easily say to anyone who's interested, you know, she's cat friendly. So that
Hmm.
is always really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So today we are here to talk to Kate about yoga, but in a little bit of a different way. We are going to talk today about the puppy yoga movement. And so I think we'll start with how you got involved. I know you mentioned a little bit in your intro, but tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that movement and where that began for you.
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, like I said, I started out doing these fundraisers, and usually they were just like it would just be like a fundraiser at a brewery, and some adoptable dogs would be there. Like people would bring dogs from the shelter, or, you know, whatever it might be. And then just the more that I put myself out there and more rescues were seeing me, I was getting, more offers and more opportunities for doing different types of yoga. So I started teaching puppy yoga, and it's something that I teach periodically. It's not like an all the time thing, but if a rescue reaches out and they're like, "Hey, we have adoptable puppies. Can we host a puppy yoga session?" It's really great for socialization for the dogs and everything like that. And who am I to, turn that down? It has very much become a very trendy thing, and you can raise a lot of money with puppy yoga. And it has also evolved into kitten yoga. I've done kitten yoga for a few rescues as well. Kitten and cat, like with cats, you can bring older cats and you're not going to have, big fighting issues or anything. But it's really popular right now. And so I decided that I just wanted to use it as a way to raise money for the rescues, especially when they're pulling mama dogs and puppies in, like so much money gets poured into one litter. So it just felt like a helpful thing to do. Yeah.
I even saw snake yoga recently.
Oh,
what?
My God.
Hard pass.
Oh, no.
Okay. No, thank you.
Well,
No,
and
thank you.
I just flashed to like goat yoga.
Yeah.
Goat
yeah,
yoga
goat
is so
yoga was a thing.
popular. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just going to say I loved goat yoga when I did it.
Yeah.
I mostly just snuggled goats, but
Yeah.
there was also like one or two stretches done.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, this is something that as a yoga teacher, I do have to be transparent to say, like, puppy yoga is not, I'm putting air quotes here, it's not real yoga. Like there's specific like practices that we do in a real yoga class that like puppy yoga it's a gimmick. And it is a way to bring in money for the rescues, as is something like goat yoga. I think people are now doing like yoga with those Highland cows, like all that, and snakes apparently too.
Apparently.
So yeah, it gets people in the door who wouldn't normally pay for a yoga class.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would just say, if you have done puppy yoga with Kate, I would go and do non-puppy yoga with Kate because your practice is so calming and such an amazing practice. But I would say like experience both, because why not puppies or kittens or not snakes? I'm not down for the snakes.
Yeah.
So that's
for
amazing.
Sure. Yeah. And I will say it's funny. I definitely have a preference. Like, obviously I would always choose to just teach regular old yoga if given that opportunity. Kitten yoga can actually be pretty dang relaxing too. They're just not as big. They're not bulls in a china shop, they're not chewing on mats and, doing crazy stuff like that. But yes, I would always choose to teach a traditional yoga class for sure.
Yeah. I get that.
And I think one thing I wanted to say before we get too far into the puppy yoga is why we think it's important to talk about this.
Oh,
yeah.
Is because nobody goes to puppy yoga being like, ooh, I really want to abuse puppies today. Like, I really want to
of course,
put puppies in harm's way.
Yeah.
And yet some of those things are happening.
Yeah.
And so we want our listeners to at least be able to say, oh, this is how we can find ethical yogas, and this is why it's ethical, and those types of things.
Right.
Totally.
I don't think anyone's going into this with malice in their heart. They just want to see puppies. They see it around, and they maybe don't realize that there is a quote unquote, I don't want to say right and wrong, but definitely better practices and what to look for to make sure that if you are participating, that you're doing it with a group who is doing things on the up and up and keeping the people and the animals and their well-being at the forefront.
100%. Same with, and this is something that the three of us have had conversations about, but same with someone who buys a dog from a breeder. If they don't know any better, if they don't have awareness or education, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you're a horrible, evil, terrible person. That's just not how my brain works. And I totally understand that something like puppy yoga or specific breeds of dogs, right? They all have their day and they become trendy and people get excited and they don't know what they don't know. And so, yeah, you guys are totally, Christy, I'm glad you said that, because I definitely don't want to be here talking about puppy yoga in an ethical versus unethical, I guess I'll use those terms, way to say that any of the consumers are to blame. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I think
Yeah.
until I sat down with you, because we actually sat down about something else, and then we started talking about puppy
Yeah.
yoga, and we got into it, and Heather and I were immediately like, we have to have Kate back on.
Yeah.
Then I don't know though that I realized that there was this unethical puppy yoga happening. And so then I was like, oh, we got to share this. Like, people need to know. Like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
got to get on this. Yeah.
I think for me it was maybe more obvious because so Trin's breeder did do puppy yoga, so we'll like share some of that experience.
Yeah.
And that so like I saw an ethical breeder doing it in a
Yeah.
certain way.
Yeah.
And then also for me and who I am, I'm always looking at, okay, who is the breeder?
Mhm.
What are their ethics? And
Mhm.
then that leads me down a road, right? But that's like who I am in my experience. And
Yeah.
so it makes sense that I would look at it that way.
For sure. And I think one of the big things as I've delved further into this world and you know looked into it more is, well, first of all, puppy yoga, goat yoga, often those things started early as a way for rescues and sanctuaries to raise money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it became this really fun, really gimmicky thing. And then I don't know who or how or when, but it became industrialized where
Yes.
now CEOs or serial entrepreneurs or whatever investors are coming in and they're like, we're seeing that this is making money. And
Yeah.
so how do we build this model? And the
Mm-hmm.
crazy thing about it is there's a few different companies that do puppy yoga and they're kind of like spread out all over the country where they're franchises, right? But it's
Right.
all under one umbrella.
Right.
And it's so crazy because when you look at their website, when you go to their social media, it all looks exactly the same across
Mm-hmm.
multiple companies.
Mm-hmm.
The branding looks the same, the language is the same, the pictures are the same. And so it's like, okay, so is there this bigger, you know, entity up at the
Mm-hmm.
top that's kind of running and pulling the strings for all of this? And so for me, I mean, I wear a tinfoil hat on a lot of things, but as someone who pushes back quite a bit on capitalism and industrialization, especially of things that benefit community members, right?
Yeah.
That's where I started getting into all of this and starting to do all this research. When those ads started coming across my feed, and I was like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're explicitly rated, so you can say what the fuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can say whatever you want.
Okay, great. But yeah, that's when I started noticing where I was like, wow, this looks highly curated. This looks very brandy, you know, because like
Commercialized.
very commercialized. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So for me, that's probably like if we were to say like what's ethical versus unethical, or like how do I know? I guess if someone's asking like how do I know if this is
Mm-hmm.
a good yoga class to support or not, it's like look at the brand, like look
Mm-hmm.
at, are they highly commercialized? That was my first red flag. I think my second red flag was I went to the website and they're charging $70 for tickets for puppy yoga.
Mm. Give an example of what you would normally do in that case so people have an idea
Okay.
of, you know.
So like a standard class that I would teach, just like a regular yoga class that I would teach would be $20 to $25.
Mm-hmm.
Puppy yoga, like when I've partnered with Almost Their Rescue multiple times, I believe they charge $30.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when I partner with them, all of the proceeds go to the rescue. So
Exactly.
I'm not getting a kickback. If I do my own
Mm-hmm.
yoga class, obviously I'm getting paid for that. But
Of course.
when I partner with a rescue, you know, the proceeds are going directly to the
Mm-hmm.
rescue. Now we're kind of working with different models, obviously, in order to optimize funds raised for the rescue. So we did a kitten yoga this last weekend and we charged $40 for a standard ticket, but that also came with a coffee and it came with a raffle ticket.
Oh, nice.
And then
Fun.
we did like goodie bags. So if you wanted a goodie bag, it was $55. So again, even with like all the extras and all the perks, we're still way below what these companies are charging. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think people should know about puppy yoga?
I mean, aside from the money piece, when we look at these more commercialized versions of puppy yoga, what I have seen with my own eyes what I've read on the internet and what I've also heard from once I started posting about it, I started getting people reaching out to me to share their experience. Is that often breeders, they're partnering with breeders, and you can see it on the website. They're very clear as day. I've had a couple rescues say they partnered with me, but they never got the funds. So they partnered with a rescue, but then they never sent the money over to them. I've heard that a couple of times, unfortunately. Couple other things I've heard. Well, what I saw was because we went and
I just back up and just say that's straight up theft.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
into the people who need it most.
Yeah. Also, you're extorting the people who are
it's
coming to your
exploitation.
class.
Yeah,
like there's so
totally.
much wrong with that.
Totally. Yeah. And
I needed a minute to marinate
process.
that, like how terrible that was.
Yeah. It's really, really bad. I've also, I have actually had a couple of yoga teachers from a specific company reach out to me and say breeders have brought dogs in who've been sick and lethargic. They've had ticks on them. And they've said to the higher ups, this is happening. And the higher ups have basically just said, just take the ticks off and keep going, keep doing the class, and so very disheartening practices, really hard things to hear, especially as someone who loves animals and freaks out if I accidentally step on my dog's paw, to hear that these things are happening and that there are people looking down on it and getting messages from yoga teachers and being like, nah, the show must go on, right? We have to keep going. So I've gotten multiple messages from yoga teachers who actually worked for the company who are now gone. And now the company has lawsuits against them for speaking out. So very, very interesting things happening. And then we actually did a protest last August outside of one of the classes, and I was able to we saw the breeder and we saw her bring the dogs in, and then we saw her leave. And so I was like, hey, so you're just leaving the dogs here? She was like, yeah, I just drop them off for the day. Mind you, this specific company runs 4 or 5 classes back to back. And how many hours do puppies sleep in a day? 20 hours, 18 to 20 hours?
18 to 22 hours a day.
Yeah. And so these are hour-long classes. I think there's 10 or 15-minute breaks in between.
Not enough.
That ends up being 5, 6 hours, 7 hours where they are at a studio, no food there, no water there, and their handler is not there, right? The person who is supposed to be looking out for them and is supposed to be loving them and raising them and helping them be the best dogs that they can be for their future families is not present. And we obviously, when the breeder dropped them off, we said a couple of things, and basically her response was like, well, I love all the dogs, I love them. Right. And so it's like, well, that's not really good enough.
That's enough. It's not enough.
It's not enough. You can love something and not care for it properly.
Totally. You can still
I love
exploit
Highland
it.
cows. I can't have one because I can't properly care for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
This is obviously where, okay, I don't want any puppies to be mistreated in any way. And I hate that this grassroots movement has been turned into this whole commercial thing. And I don't want to just say that's the way of the world, because that's not good enough, right? Because there's so much harm happening here.
Yeah.
And so but I just cringe on so many levels. I reached out to Trin's breeder and said to her, hey, first of all, she's doing this in Nova Scotia, so not a large city. They have a lot, basically no disease there. So there's less risk from disease standpoint for her puppies. But even having said all of that, she went to the class. It was 1 class or 2 classes. It's been a little while now. I don't remember. She was present the entire time.
Yeah.
She was watching how these puppies were interacted with. And when I say that she is a conscientious breeder, that's the lowest bar I could give for her, And so it was a wonderful experience for her. Her puppies had a great time, all of this.
Yeah.
Having said all of that, back goes up when we're talking about the type of quote unquote breeders that are dropping their litters off
Mhm.
for hours at a time. These puppies are not being cared for. They have no advocate. They're being
Yeah.
passed around. We're in a city where there is a ton of disease.
Mhm.
There are no precautions taken. We don't know vaccine status of the puppies.
Yep.
We don't know how people who are coming in and going, you might unknowingly pass something to these
Totally.
puppies. Not to mention, there's no one dictating the interactions that are happening with these puppies in a
Right.
highly formidable period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you already have someone who probably should not be breeding because they have no idea what they're doing from a genetic standpoint.
Yeah.
And then you're piling on all of these potential bad experiences and a lack of security, a lack of nutrition, a lack of sleep, it
Yeah.
just rolls downhill in such a
Yeah.
horrific way for me. It makes me irate.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I feel that same 100% way for those reasons and
And so many
obviously some
more.
other reasons for
yeah.
sure.
And you
You
said that
know,
there was no hand sanitizer or anything as
not
people
that
were coming in
not that
for
I saw. Now,
okay.
obviously, and here's the thing is, like I said, these are franchised all over the
Mm-hmm.
country. And so one other thing that I have had, people reach out to me to say, which it always cracks me up. It's very similar to like the not all men movement, right? Like if someone
Mm.
says like blah blah blah, they'll be like not all men. I've had people be like, well, not all classes, right? Not, and it's like, but if this is happening once in one city, that's enough
Yes.
for, in my
It's
opinion,
too
to
much.
shut it
Mhm.
down. It's too much,
Agreed.
and especially in a place, I think often about, when you talk about getting trimmed from Nova Scotia, and I'm from Montana originally. So a lot of people get their dogs from breeders there because there's not an overpopulation problem there.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mhm.
Phoenix, there is a massive overpopulation problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then alongside of that, this commercialized puppy yoga company has come in to steal funds, right?
Yes.
To say,
Mhm.
ooh, we're going to capitalize on what all these rescues and sanctuaries have been doing, and we're going to line our own pockets. So not only are we going to be taking funds from thousands of dogs who need the help, then we are also going to partner with breeders, and then we're going to promote more breeding because, and here's kind of one
I
of the other
agree.
things that I encourage people to look out for is if you see this kind of, now obviously there are breed specific rescues, I will say that as a caveat, but if you see one of these ads for puppy yoga and they're like, hey, come play with blue merle frenchies or come play
Oh
with
boy.
dalmatians, then it's like, this is an issue. If you
Yeah.
can guarantee a breed on a date, it's not, because that
Yeah.
ain't how rescue work. That's
Yeah.
not how rescue works.
Yeah.
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 The last thing we need is another way to promote backyard breeding,
Totally.
unscrupulous
Mhm.
breeding. Like
Yeah.
we don't need another reason
Yeah.
for people to produce fly by night litters,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care where you are, overpopulated or not. We don't want that.
Yeah.
And so we don't want people who are doing zero health testing, not selling on contract, not like none of
Yeah.
that
Not doing
anywhere.
home
Right.
checks. Yeah.
None of it.
For
No
sure.
application process, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it just is such a terrible, terrible combination
Mm-hmm.
of all the things that came from such a pure place.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
just, gosh, it hurts my heart.
Yeah.
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 Because I do think like, wow, who was that person who was so creative in rescue that was like, you know what? I have this
Yeah.
idea. You know what we could do to raise funds? Like, because I do feel like sometimes the need of rescue forces this creative genius
Yes.
Absolutely.
that happens. And then for somebody to come on the back of that creative genius and be
Mhm.
like, let me stomp you down so that I can just line my pockets. Like that's
Yes.
not, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, this is me wearing a tinfoil hat, but unfortunately, isn't that a product of the society that we live in,
Yes.
right? Where so many people have these beautiful, creative ideas and expressions, and then someone comes in with bigger capital or with bigger, a bigger platform that can say, I'm going to take exactly what that is and I'm going to make money for myself, when it's just one individual person who's just trying to pay their bills, right?
Yes.
Or the rescue who's trying to, pay for the vaccinations for all these puppies or whatever it might be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The money that we raise, and even again, when individually, when I teach yoga classes, like it all just goes back into the community, right? It's recirculating. It's not going to I looked up the guy who owns this specific puppy yoga company that I'm talking about. And he also is like the founder of a bunch of like dentist franchises. So it's just, that's just
corporate,
kind of the type of person that we're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Obviously, now that we've gone down the road of all the negatives, right?
Yeah.
And why we don't want people to be doing this. How, if somebody wants to do puppy yoga or they want to host puppy yoga, how do they make sure that they're doing it in an ethical way? How do they make sure that if they're, going to host it, that the funds are, or sorry, if they're going to go to one, that the funds are being put towards an ethical cause? How do they make sure that the puppies are supported? Tell the people how they do it the best way possible.
Yeah, what does ethical look like?
Yeah, so ethical would look like maybe the entity that is hosting this is a nonprofit in and of itself, or they are partnering with a nonprofit or a rescue. That's a really, really important thing to look out for, right? So again, if you're scrolling on your feed and you see an ad and it says Puppy Yoga Club, right? And you go to the website, you can pretty easily recognize that this is a for-profit company. So that's really one to look out for, because Paws and Breathe I'm an LLC. I am technically for profit, but all of these events I am partnering with the nonprofits, and the money goes straight to them. Another thing to look out for, let's say you find one and you're going and you want to like schedule the class. If you like pull that drop down, or if on the description they're saying, okay, we've got a class at 9 and then 10:30 and then noon and then 2, like that's a red flag. So like Heather said, when Trin did it, or when Trin's breeder did it, they had 2 classes. We usually do 1, right? And it's 1 and it's 45 minutes to an hour. And then, we hang out for a little bit and people have coffee or whatever, but the dogs are not there. I think the longest the dogs have been like off site from the rescue at one of these events is probably 2.5, maybe 3 hours. So it's short time frame, right? So that's what we want to look for too. We also want to look for, like, are there handlers present, right? Is the rescue there? Is the rescue going to be present, or are they just, which rescues don't do this? I mean, again, there's unethical rescues too, but an ethical rescue would say, which the ones I work with are like, we're there, we'll have this many volunteers, the dogs have this many vaccines. So have you sanitized the floor, or is there a floor covering? Everybody needs to take their shoes off. You need to sanitize your hands. So an ethical rescue will have a protocol that you want to follow. And here's the thing. Let's say you do end up booking a class and you go and you recognize this is not ethical, they're not following this protocol. Don't do it. Just don't do it again. Right. Like, it's not like, again, it's not like you're a horrible person. Now, right now, one of the other ones was like the guaranteed designer breed. Like, you're going to come and we're going to have mini golden Aussie doodles for you or whatever. Like, that's a red flag for sure. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said, just because a rescue is doing this doesn't mean the rescue is ethical. So like, you want to know, listen, we all work hard to earn our money. And we want to make sure our money is going to a cause we believe in.
Totally.
So if you are donating your money, do a little research, make sure that you believe in where your funds are going. And I have no question that everyone that Kate is dealing with is on the up and up and ethical. But there might be somebody out there that you would rather your funds go to, like it's a personal choice of where your money's going. So just be aware of where it's going and make sure that it feels good to you.
Totally. Yeah. And one of the big things is, like, I've had people reach out to me to ask this very question, how do I know? And also it's like, ask them, like comment on their social media feed, email them. If they are not responding to you at all, just something to think about, right? If they are skirting the answer that you gave them, if they're giving you really broad answers, like those are all, that's all information to take in. But I like, yes, we have to do our due diligence as buyers. Like, and again,
Yes.
this is a way bigger picture thing than just puppy yoga. We all need to be mindful of where our money is going, especially now, especially with everything that's going on in the world. Our money has so much power. So yeah, absolutely. I could partner with a rescue, and if someone doesn't want to support that rescue, that's fine. You can support there's millions of them out there.
So many.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, just do your research and what feels good for you.
I know in Arizona, like a very, very, very simple first step is to look them up on the Arizona Corporate Commission and see if they're in good standing.
Yeah.
It's like will take you 30 seconds to do an entity search and see that they're in good standing. That is such a simple place to start if you are wanting to like go down that road.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even consider that, but that is super
if they're a
easy.
business in good standing, that's an easy first place to start.
For sure. Yeah.
It's also, I think it would be wise, like you said, like contact them if you're like, man, they do. It looks like a rescue, but they say they're going to have mini Aussie golden doodles.
Yeah,
like
totally.
contact them because they may say, yes, we do. This one time we ended up getting from a hoarding case.
Yes.
And so we can guarantee because we have these litters in right now.
Yep.
And so we can guarantee we're going to have mini Aussie golden doodles here. Totally. And then you can be like, oh, I kind of always wanted to interact with one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that yoga.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely.
It is a good point.
Like I said, there are breed specific rescues out there, and there are more rescues are pulling lots of different breeds of dogs at this point because of what's going unchecked in the breeding world here in Arizona. So you're absolutely right. I think another kind of thing to watch out for, because you'll obviously everyone's algorithm is different. I see all of them. I see every puppy yoga event ever possible because it's on my algorithm. But if it comes up, often if it's partnering with a rescue, they want to say that, right? It looks good for a yoga a yoga company or whatever to say, oh, we're giving half of our profits back to Halo or whatever. I don't know, whatever rescue it might be. So usually if they're partnering with a rescue, they're going to say it. So yeah, if things don't feel transparent, if things feel off, or I don't know, like a better word, like
if you get a little like inkling,
if you get an ick about it, or if it just feels like, to me, I think one of the hard things is our social media feeds have, for so many people, they feel like it has to be so highly curated and it has to look a certain way. And to me, that's often a sign of like something weird is going on behind the scenes. Support humans, support the rescues that they're doing or the work that they're doing, like actual human beings. I know it looks really, really cute and it looks like it could be the best experience ever. And also, you would be surprised the amount of joy and fulfillment and community that can happen at these events that maybe aren't the most curated and don't look, the dogs are little, like kind of weird little scruffy little mongrels, but they're so freaking cute anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say being a business major, good marketing doesn't equal good experiences.
Absolutely.
Always. Like good marketing is not equivalent to dog care. And
totally.
Absolutely. So
I mean,
just be aware of that too.
Some of the prettiest websites out there are the most unethical breeders I've ever seen in my life. So, totally. And I honestly, myself, if you're out there and you wonder if something looks ethical or not, I love to do a little digging. So you are welcome to message me at Puppy K all day on Instagram and I will just dig right, because it's very easy for me to spot something.
Me too.
Because I have the eye for it. You have the eye for it. I have the eye for it on the breeder side. You have the eye for it on the rescues, and yoga side.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll take me probably a minute to be able to be like, nope, you don't want to go there.
Yeah. And I would just love to be able to empower more people to be able to see that, to see
Yes.
the inconsistencies
Yes.
that make you pause and be like, oh,
Yes.
wait a second, this
Yes.
doesn't look right. And obviously I don't have that eye, like you said, with breeders. I don't have that eye. I have a general idea of what are the things that would make an ethical breeder versus a backyard breeder. But this is something that I would love for everyone to be educated on, so we can make better choices, especially when Phoenix is overrun with so much backyard breeding and hoarding and, all those unfortunate cases.
So today that we're recording is February 21st. Do you have any events on the books that are upcoming that people can be made aware of, or what can they think of that's upcoming for Paws and Breathe?
Yeah, I actually don't have any
Who did you
yoga.
do kitten yoga for?
I
Who
did
was
kitten
that
yoga
with?
for Whisker Outpost. They're
Okay.
a brand new rescue.
Okay.
Michael and Krista, who run it, were fosters for Lost Our Home Rescue for a very long time, and they branched off to do their own thing. Friends of mine, and I just wanted to bring more awareness, to their rescue. It was a really great, it was Valentine's themed. It was just so cute, like we had a really great time, and I back what they do. I've been to their house, which is, it's all kittens, so that's where they rescue, and I've seen how they care for the kittens, and they just really, really care. They're very special people. I'm trying to think. I don't have any rescue stuff. God, I don't have anything on the books right now. I've been working on some other stuff too with Paws and Breathe, so I've kind of had to just balance my energy with all of it, but it'll happen. Yeah, go ahead.
I do think there is a puppies, Prosecco's, puppies,
Oh,
Pilates, and
Puppies and
Prosecco
Prosecco's coming. You
At
are
almost
right.
there. Yeah, at
in
almost
March.
there. Rescue. Yeah, they have a really, and that's such a fun.
Oh, it's such an amazing event.
Ashley Manor.
Yeah.
Or not Ashley Manor.
Yeah.
Wrigley
Manor.
Wrigley
Yeah.
Mansion. Yeah.
Yes, if people are like itching for some puppy yoga right now and they want to support a rescue, Almost There Rescue is one of the best ones to do it. They do the puppy yoga in-house. So you go to the rescue. They're very diligent about like infection control protocols. They are incredible. They do really incredible work.
Isn't that such a green flag right there? They open their doors and say, "Come on in. We're doing it right here." And of course, we all know the founder of that rescue, so we're supportive. And I think they're doing so many things right. And I know that those fundraisers are big fundraisers for them. So yeah, I just was thinking, well, they're even like, "Come on in." You can always go and see what they're doing there. So yeah, I think that that's a really good place for people to start too. If you're trying to get an idea, well, what does it really look like, and how does it feel when it's being done well?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in
Arizona. Yeah,
but even still, you can follow on socials and still get a feel of how it's happening and what the promo materials look like. And then after the fact, what does it look like with the videos from their events and everything, and get a real feel for what it should be.
For sure. It's very human. It feels very human.
Yes.
I will say, now that we're just mentioning rescues, another really good one who I have done a few rescues or a few puppy yoga sessions with is Love Connection Rescue. I didn't really know a lot about them. A couple of years ago, I just found them because they had a dog that I was in love with. God, I think her name was Chibata, and she ended up getting adopted. But anyway, I am friends with one of the volunteers, and they do a really good job. Again, we hosted the puppy yoga sessions at Heidi's Village, which again, Heidi's Village just lets you come in. You can see everything that, all the operations and what's going on. And same thing, infection control was there. No shoes, hand sanitizer. There's water bowls around. That's another thing. What I have, again, heard from eyewitnesses at some of these corporate puppy yoga sessions is like they're withholding water from these dogs, because it's not cute if a dog has an accident. When it's a puppy, it's not, but that's not cute, right?
Right.
But when you're with a rescue, they're running around just like spraying stuff down and wipe it, because they're dogs, they're not props, they're not stuffed animals, they're dogs. So Love Connection is another really good one to just consider as well. There's a ton. I have had the fortune to really partner with a lot of really great rescues and learn more about their practices. And like you said earlier, I am picky too. I'm not going to partner with everyone because I want to make sure that they're caring for their dogs, you know?
Yeah.
And even as the owner of an adult dog, like I would not withhold water from him for 5 hours.
No,
I
what
would
is wrong with
never.
you?
Yeah.
Like out and being active. And Arizona's so dry
Yeah.
and so hot. That's just cruel.
It's just wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know you get a little bit of kickback because sometimes on social media, I'll see you addressing it that you are protesting something that you do yourself.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
question.
So what is your kind of response to that? I mean, I think we've kind of gone over it, but to wrap it up.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that puppy yoga, if done ethically, I don't want to say right or wrong,
I know.
but if done ethically, puppy yoga can be an amazing tool to raise money for rescues. It can be an amazing tool to socialize dogs in the right way.
Agreed.
And it can be an awesome way to not only create community amongst animal lovers, also open the door for yoga, right? It's a really great way to like get people who have never done yoga to come in and be like, oh my God, I actually kind of like that. I'm going to try it. So to me, there are benefits, and puppy yoga can be a really great thing if done ethically. And so I will stand by the way I teach puppy yoga. I think I teach it in the most ethical way that I can, with making sure that funds are going to the rescues, that the animals are loved and taken care of, and there's proper infection control, nobody's getting sick, and that we're just doing it in a way that continues to give back to the community in general. Yeah.
I completely agree. I think that you're coming at it with a pure heart and keeping the well-being of the people and the animals at the forefront, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah. People and pups over profit all day, every day.
Yes.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
We just love having you here, and we appreciate you taking more time. I am so appreciative of you always sharing your knowledge and being a friend of the show.
Yeah, dude, obviously I just love you guys as people, and it's always great to chat about the things you're passionate about. So I'm going to have to find something else that we can talk about in another 6 months.
I agree.
Oh no, we'll have to talk more dogs.
We're going to have to talk about dogs some more. So everyone, we will link how to follow Kate on Instagram, Facebook, but mostly Instagram, and then also your website, and just give her a follow, and then you don't have to look very far to know who to support and who not to. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, I lay it out pretty well on
very
there,
clearly.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kate. If you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe, rate, and share us wherever you get your podcasts. Also, come on over to Instagram and engage with us at Sometimes There's Side Eye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.